Hey, hey, what's up, big
And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 1327. Today is Monday, May 12, 2025, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto most days, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m.-ish. And today's top stories, not many, but some powerful ones. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF posts $356 million inflows, marking the longest streak of 2025. First state to potentially remove capital gains tax on Bitcoin, XRP, and stocks. And Uniswap becomes first DEX to hit $3 trillion in all-time volume. I think I actually put $1 trillion. I need to fix that right quick. And more, but first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick look at these prices on the day. And of course, as I said last week, Bitcoin is alive and well. We are, as some people will put, flourishing in this space, so nothing to worry about. But as I said, let me bring this up. Bitcoin is coming in hot at $104,202, up 0.2% on the 24-hour clock, as you can see there. Ethereum is at surprising $2,564, up 3.5% on 24-hour clock and 41% on the last 7-day cycle. Ripple, $2.60, up 10.8%. Number 5, BNB, $679, up 4.43%. Your favorite Solana, number 6, $179, up 4.49%. Number 8, Dogecoin, 24 cents, up 4.5%. Number 9, Cardano at 84 cents, up 6.6%. And number 10, Tron at 27 cents, up 7.29%. And again, when it comes to some of these top 10 coins outside of like Bitcoin, Tron is actually one of the more appealing ones because they've had a slow, steady growth no matter what Bitcoin's been doing for the most part, where a lot of these have like literally just been tethered to wherever the price is. So there's that. Fear and Greed Index is up another 3 points. It was 70 last week. And remember, we're at 73 now. And Bitcoin dominance is at 61.4, and Ethereum dominance has pumped back up to a 9.2%. So shout out to Ethereum. Hopefully it continues, but again, we'll see. I've already saw some Petra upgrades notes come out, some being positive, some being negative. I'm not going to go into detail because I know it's again the first couple of weeks, so hopefully they can get it worked out here in the next few weeks and we can get a better picture on what is going on with Ethereum. So that remains to be seen. All right, really quick before we get this show on the roll, or is it on the roll or on the road? Either way, let me give some quick shout outs to the chat. What's going on, everybody in the chat? Welcome back. Hope you had a great weekend. Memories of Mike, Jake Fever, good money. Good morning, good money. There we go. Yeah, happy Mother's Day, folks. DM Car, Hyben 17, Les Square, Joe Muhammad, Wisdom Bars, Dear Bit. I see everybody rolling in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's go ahead and get this show rolling. Top story of the day. Comes as no surprise as you actually see the price point. It's something I spoke about last week when I kind of went into detail about the Bitcoin price. But again, I'm just like, that's the thing. And I know I'm in the right direction. You know, I'll do a show and then like 2 or 3 days later, it'll be like the headline of the show. Essentially, I just did. And that's essentially what's happened today. So it's going to be a lot of regurgitation from Friday. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF posts 356 million inflows, marking the longest streak of 2025. One of the things I was saying about the price volatility and why those swings were happening wasn't because of the market itself, but because of how some of the portfolio managers in the market, I'm looking at you, BlackRock, would react to news of tariffs and everything else, right? They're trying to protect their nest egg, and that's BlackRock. It's not a Bitcoin ETF. That's just a part of a way to make capital for their entire nest egg. But BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF has now posted 19 days of consecutive inflows, the longest inflow streak for the world's asset manager this year. And again, I want to talk about this because this is why the price is where it's at. That's the 10 to 15%. So again, if they were to withdraw all this tomorrow or the next 2 months, they say, well, we're not going to do these inflows. Like there's two things that can slow or stall the price. First is if they say we don't do these inflows as aggressively anymore. Like we made the amount we want in there, whatever, and they slow down actually depositing or I guess rotating and rebalancing those funds over to Bitcoin, right? That will slow the price action down and it may even make it dip 2 to 3%. But what will really make it dip is if they actually withdraw. And again, they've done it about 4 or 5 times now. We see them keep putting in hundreds of millions of dollars, withdrawing it. You keep seeing this become a headline, a news article. It's the same money. It is literally the same money. If anything, it's profit being compounded back into it. But for the most part, it's the same money. So again, I understand why this takes the news cycle. It's a big number. It's something that's interesting. But When you look at the last 19 days and this pump we just had, I can say this is probably attributed to it. Again, this is about 10 to 15% right there. So again, the story is in the headline itself, and that's BlackRock is going crazy with the ETFs. But again, what's more important to me is how they move it, because it could stay in there for the next 2 weeks, stay in there for the next 2 days, next 2 months, and then they can just rotate it and bring it right back out. And we could see Bitcoin go right back down to 88, 90,000, 85,000, as we just were when they had the withdrawals of the ETFs that month prior. So again, this is just more evidence showing that a piece of this price is definitely tethered not only to the institutional market as a whole, but I mean to BlackRock, right? It's tethered to BlackRock. Whatever BlackRock's doing, you can assume that Bitcoin is going to make a 10% move, or the market's going to make a 10% move to follow as well. Jake said the next dip will be around Bitcoin conference. I agree that does happen every year. Right before the conference, you do get a dip, and then right after the conference, you get a little pump. So I will agree with that. The Bitcoin conference is oftentimes been a way to see when that dip will occur also. All right, something else. Listen, like I said, this is just a rewrap from last week, I guess. Wasn't a lot of news stories out there, and some of these media personalities apparently or editors were like, hey, watch Jim in the crypto, make some news stories. First state to potentially remove capital gains tax on Bitcoin, XRP, and stocks. Can I get a hand clap, please? I mean, I literally just went on a rant on Friday saying, like, hey, this was a part of the Trump administration's most probable master plan, because it's the last thing that needed to be done. That's attack the IRS when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto. And by attacking them, if you can, reduce or eliminate any type of taxation on you, you can not only make it like a safe haven for capital and for tax folks or whatever folks who are trying to limit their tax liabilities, but it will also pump the price, right? It will also make it like the next biggest thing on the planet. Like, hey, you can not only can you stay here because it isn't being taxed, or like there's it's muddy tax waters, but now you have official government regulators, politicians, and everyone else making legislation saying, no, 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 we're actually not going to tax this. This is huge. Now, do I think it's going to happen super smooth and this is just going to go through and everything's going to be wonderful? I definitely don't. You are crazy. Like the IRS is Gary Gensler on steroids. They are definitely not going down without a fight. A and B. If they do start going down, you better expect again that their fight is wild haymakers. Somebody, establishments, organizations, and people you never thought would get hit by the IRS will start getting hit out the blue. It wouldn't make sense to us, but on the background, we knew what companies were connected to who and who put capital where. It would all make sense. I think again they're going to try to do this. Um, I don't know how successful it will be here in this next, this first year, next 6 months or so, but this is definitely on the target list, and it looks like it's already happening. I mean, again, I did a rant about this on Friday. Here it is, folks. Missouri is on the brink of eliminating capital gains tax entirely, a move that can reshape the investment incentives for crypto and stock traders in the state. They could become the first U.S. state to eliminate capital gains tax entirely, a move that will have profound implications for crypto holders, stock investors, and real estate stakeholders alike. Missouri House Bill 594, which passed a final vote in the state legislature, now awaits Governor Mike Cahoe's signature. If signed, it would enact a 100% income tax deduction on all capital gains, including profits from digital assets like Bitcoin and XRP. What, folks? This is absolutely crazy. And I will be like, what? If Missouri were to do this, I mean, who wouldn't move there? At least on the digital side, at least get a home address there, right? Quote unquote, aunt or uncle or grandparent you live with. It would just make sense to have this in your business portfolio. At the time of writing, of course, Bitcoin is trading above 104,000. Ripple $2.38, both up in the last 24 hours, as this article says. The proposal arrives just weeks after President Trump floated a sweeping federal tax reform plan that will scrape income tax and replace it with revenue from import tariffs. When tariffs cut in, many people's income taxes will be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated. This quote from Trump said in the April 27th social truth post, a true social post. So um, the governor hasn't publicly commented on it. Missouri could become the most tax advantaged state in America for crypto and stock investors alike. But again, I do not think this has any, well, I won't say anything. This to me has more to do with crypto, stocks, and things of the sort than anything else, right? If it didn't, they could have been made this move. If this was just a simple income tax thing, capital gains tax thing, a real estate, a potential real estate windfall is none of those things. The only thing that will prompt them to do something this crazy is the current environment we have, the current financial environment, and that's crypto, that's Bitcoin. They're talking Bitcoin reserve in Missouri as well. Everyone's eyes on different stocks. They're trying to dodge tariffs. I mean, it's becoming how it was back in the day almost when states really stood for themselves. It was more state power than you had federal power. I don't think that's ever going to go back. I think the feds are going to continue to keep that federal power. But I do think in the last few years, last 2 to 3 years especially, we've started to see states get more of their own power and kind of uh, uh, push their own what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know the word. Their own narratives, essentially, what they want out of their state, what their constituents want. So again, this makes sense to see Missouri try to do it. This would be great for Bitcoin and crypto. Again, if they actually did pass this, I can see a lot of businesses moving over to them. All those Delaware businesses, I can see them all going over to Missouri. Again, it hasn't happened yet. We shall see if it does happen. But if it does, folks, this will be the first domino of many to fall in regards to damaging the IRS, because there's no way, no how you're going to have Missouri saying we're not doing capital gains tax on Bitcoin and altcoins and everyone else. And competing states are just going to look and be like, oh, I guess they'll just take the whole market. Like, no, are you crazy? Of course not. They're going to be competing states like, oh, if they can do it, if this worked for them, why are we making our citizens do it? Because now it's going to turn into a race for votes, a race for constituents. Again, it wouldn't make any sense for a person in this game. I mean, we've already seen a brain drain go to Puerto Rico and other countries abroad from people here being in the United States during the Biden administration saying, hey, you guys are way too tough on crypto. You're too strict. We can't move. You're trying to tax everything. And they just up and left, right? Now, granted, they moved to a territory of the US or to another foreign country, but now you're saying you don't even need to leave mainland, right? Instead of going to Puerto Rico, going into a different country, you can have the same tax protection here in the United States by just going to Missouri. I do not see any other states just looking at that saying, I guess they're just going to take all our customers and clients away. Of course not. I think we'll see within 2 to 3 weeks, we'll see additional states saying, hey, yeah, can we remove taxes? Maybe not on Bitcoin and XRP, but maybe on the Bitcoin reserve, right? They're going to finagle it. Every state will have their own thing. Maybe we do it this way. Maybe we do it that way. But essentially, it's going to be every state is chipping away at the IRS one by one. Missouri is the first one to send a shot out there, I think. We'll see more in the next few weeks. It's going to be like the Bitcoin reserve, where before you know, you're going to have 25, 30 states saying, hey, we want in on this reserve thing. This makes sense, especially let's not even forget, are the states being taxed, right? Let's not forget about how this crazy economy work. Are the states being taxed? So let's say a state does do a Bitcoin reserve. They're not trying to pay a federal government a tax from that. No, they want to keep it for the state. They don't want to go through all that red tape. So again, I think this is great news for the market as a whole. For all you bootlickers out there, believe me, the IRS is getting enough money from us. They don't know how to manage it as is. And I'll put it like this: how long have we been doing taxes in this country and we're in debt? So no, they don't know how to manage it. You don't need to lick boots and say, well, what about the roads are already jacked up. The schools are already jacked up. You guys didn't even know gender like not too long ago. Okay. Like it's already messed up on so many different levels. Why not? Right. It's one of those things where why not go this direction? So I think this is going to be something we start to see more of. I know the IRS is going to try to quell it. I could see them going behind the scenes, going to the presidential administration, trying to fearmonger, throw some fun in there. Hey, if you allow this tax thing to happen, I know it's going to work for you, President, but if you allow it for everybody, the national security, and they're going to try to scare him straight. And we'll see what happens when that actually happens. Will Trump come out and say we're going to keep the same IRS guidance, so on and so forth? I think no. Why? Because once again, Trump coin, folks, him launching the meme coin changed the trajectory of the crypto and Bitcoin market on a global scale. I don't think people appreciate how big that was, whether it was intentional or mistake, right? Whether he did it with the hopes of like, I'm going to make a ton of money, or whether he did with the hopes of I'm going to disrupt this market, whatever the reasons or however it came to be. Of course, it's probably the money part. It has forever changed the global crypto economy. The federal government cannot make legislation. They can't make laws and not even laws, regulation geared toward the overall economy or overall market when one of the main people in the market is doing everything the opposite of what they say. So I mean, it's that simple where we're at right now. The government, SEC, IRS, all these folks before Trump came along, We're gonna use crypto to pay back the national debt. Crypto taxes this, exchange this. You need to sign up on this. Unhosted wallets are illegal. This, that, and other. And then he comes along and says, "Yeah, I'm gonna launch my own meme coin, which you all deemed illegal a few years ago. You said we had to do an STO, not an ICO, and all this other stuff. I'm gonna launch my own Bitcoin firm, crypto firm, and everything else, like without the proper regulation. He's doing this without the proper regulation. So again, a regulator cannot at this point, which is why the SEC dropped literally every case they had against anyone in crypto right now. They dropped it because they cannot right now say, yes, we're going to go after your shit project. Yes, we're going to go after this. We're going, you can't go after Richard Hart without going after President Trump. It is what it is. I say it again. Richard Hart got the biggest gift of 2025. You cannot go after him in post chain or Hex if you do not go after Trump coin and Melania's coin. And those tokens will not be going after. So again, this is probably the best space we've ever been in this market, and it's only going up. And last but not least, with this article, the IRS are officially in the crosshairs. I think again, they've already slapped the like. We won't be hearing from the SEC anymore, folks, unless it's good news. Like they made the top crypto lawyer go to an IT desk. We will not hear from the SEC anymore. The FSA or was it FBA Futures, whatever association, they were on the sideline and saw like, all right, essentially the futures folks, was it NFA, is the Natural Futures Association or something, whatever the future folks were, essentially it was like the 100v1 with the man versus gorilla. And the futures saw the first person go to the gorilla, which was the SEC, and they saw what happened. So they're like, all right, we done. The CFTC was like, all right, maybe we'll try. They got slapped by the gorilla too. We out of here as well. Essentially, the IRS is like our 350-pound bodybuilder who can fight, right? That's our muscle-headed John Jones, number 99. Like, you know what? I can take the gorilla. I've been training. I've been beating gorillas my whole life. I don't know. I think we'll see here in a moment, but essentially, this is 100v1 humans versus the gorilla. Us humans being the crypto and Bitcoin market as a whole, and the gorilla being the IRS, the SEC, and then whatever, so on and so forth. We have been winning, but again, this is going to be the last one. This is going to be the big one. What can the crypto market do? What can this administration do to lessen the power or the amount the IRS is taking, or maybe from what different pockets? Because again, if you don't change anything else with the IRS and the tax and taxes, let's say nothing else changes, everything's the same, but you take out the Bitcoin and crypto component, that would be probably the biggest win of this administration. All right. I mean, forget whatever war is going on that's not here, right? That would be the biggest win of this administration. So I can't wait to see what happens next. But again, IRS are officially on the clock. They're in the crosshairs. I don't see them going down without a fight. I do want to throw that in there. But something is going to happen. Why? Because the president and his wife has billions of dollars into meme coins, and they want those billions of dollars out of meme coins without paying those taxes. So expect something to happen very, very soon, the next year or so. All right, last but not least, shout out to Uniswap. Not a lot of news stories today, but I wanted to cover this. Got to give those good news stories as well. Again, before I say this, of course, DEXs, decentralized exchanges, they are essentially different levels of that, right? So just because they say they're a DEX doesn't mean they're a DEX. And even if they are a DEX, doesn't mean they're fully decentralized. And I only say that because Uniswap to me falls in a little bit of that. They're super decentralized for sure, but there's still some levels of centralization there. But they become the first, DEX to hit $3 trillion in all-time volume. Shout out to them. Give them a hand clap. And you know, and what I will say about Uniswap is like they deserve this. They've been around now for some years. It's crazy. I mean, at least 4 or 5 years at this point. So they've been around for a few years, and they have been working. They have the liquidity. You can stake, you can swap, you can do what you want without any type of ID. All you need is a wallet address. You can switch your wallets. No one knows who's operating, how they're operating. Use a VPN. It is amazing. So again, it's very high level of it being a DEX. They do a great job. So again, I do want to give them that hand clap for reaching this $3 trillion in all-time value. The decentralized exchange has hit a total value milestone, but TVL remains about half what it was in 2021. To be expected, 2021 was an amazing year for crypto. While the price point is higher, I would almost say there was more emotion from the retail side in 2021, right? You had the Terra Lunas, you had the FTXs are still going on, you had Celsius, so it was the lending things going on, it was staking with Lido and Ethereum. There was a ton of stuff going on for the retail market, whereas right now, as the price goes up, is mostly due to institutions. We're seeing that every time we see that 10 to 15% swap from BlackRock. So, that does make sense that you could say, hey, the TVL is about half what it was in 2021, but they're still hitting that 3 trillion all-time volume, which is good. So again, this is $3 trillion in aggregate all-time volume since they've been open. The first decentralized exchange to hit the number. Uniswap founder Hayden Adams noted the achievement in the X post on May 12th, which included a screenshot of a Dune Analytics dashboard counting down to the milestone. Uniswap also has a current daily volume of 3.3 billion, according to Dune. DeFi Llama, meanwhile, shows Uniswap as a leading DEX with a 23% market share in daily volumes, which it reports as slightly lower at $3 billion over the past 24 hours. Second largest DEX in volume. Surprise, surprise. Shout out to PancakeSwap with $2.7 billion and a 21% DEX market share. But as you can see, that's not like a huge cut, but I mean, it's about $500 million, $600 million less. And then Uniswap has a current TBL locked of just under $5 billion. But this figure, again, is around half of was 2021 at its all-time high. I will also throw in that the competitors have popped up. When it was at that all-time high volume, this was like the one tested one at the time, right? Not the one, but one of the more popular tested ones out there. So, if not the only one for some of the competitors, when you talk Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, I can't remember when those came out, but of course, Uniswap came out first. I think they even had a version 2 or 3 before you started seeing the Pancake Swaps and the Sushi Swaps and so on and so forth. So, this is great news because it shows that, hey, we're having consistency. This is maturation in the market. Everyone, Dexes can't work. Like Uniswap shows you, you do not need a bank. You legitimately don't need like a third party banker and or government to say like everything that Bitcoin said it was going to do. This is the exchange side of it. This is the actual brick and mortar bank where Uniswap is like, oh, wait, what do you need to go into a bank for? Like you can do it on a DeFi exchange. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to add any personal information. It works. I love it. Shout out to Uniswap. Glad to see they have that 3 billion aggregate volume. And I think this is a good call sign to other DEXs out there to say, like, this is possible. Like, as much as the government wants it to fail, as much as they saying and throwing FUD out there that this can't work and blah, 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 it works. It's possible. And here's the shining example for it. So shout out to Uniswap. Glad to see they've completed this. What is it called when you have this milestone? Glad to say they complete this milestone. It's pretty amazing to see. And again, I think we'll just continue to see a lot of good news stories here in the space because who's going to be the person to bring in a bad news story at this point? Again, let's not forget a bad news story is no longer an attack on Bitcoin or crypto or the retail market or anything. A bad news crypto story is now a direct attack on the presidential administration in the United States of America. It's going to be seen as hostile. Whoever comes out against Bitcoin and crypto, it will be seen as a hostile action against the United States government. Why? Because the president is like further than nose deep in this Bitcoin and crypto mix. All right. So I think we're on an upward trajectory. It's the summertime. A lot of good stuff will happen. As Jake said, you might see a little dip around the Bitcoin conference, but I think we'll continue to see the sideways upward moving throughout the summer. The only thing that could kind of stop it or slow it down drastically is going to be what already happened. That's if Trump starts to talk or one of these countries start to, they get into it, we'll tear up this and 100%, we're not doing any more trading with you and blah, blah, blah. And even then, it wouldn't be volatile because of the crypto market. It would be volatile because of all the other markets and how the BlackRocks of the world, the institutions of the world are managing their crypto portfolios, right? So it wouldn't be that Bitcoin's on the cups or something happening or whatever over altcoin. It'll just simply just be like, hey, we see the market going down in this area. We see ways to make more money in this area. We're just going to rotate these funds as we've been doing. And then we'll rotate them back when it makes sense for us. Who cares about the market? That's BlackRock talking, right? So everything's great, alive and well. And I'm happy to see that this market is burgeoning. All right, last few comments for our call it a day. Laura Smith said, all TradeFi is coming. LOL, we're going to be locked in with banks forever. So that is true. Laura Smith makes a great point. Without going into super detail about this, I've seen a lot of these articles the last few weeks, and you're absolutely correct. Essentially, they're about to put stocks, Bitcoin, altcoins, like every TradeFi, everything is about to get put into one big pot at the same banks, at the same wealth institutions, and things of the sort. I've also seen the rhetoric of that. I think this morning I actually saw an article. I didn't run it because it's only I want to say the second real article. I've seen ancillary articles that kind of mentioned it, but it was only the second real article. You know how I am. Three's a trend. I want to wait till I get that third one where I'm like, all right, this is takeoff time. But I'm with you, Lord Smith. I've been seeing it as well. Trade fi, yeah, we're gonna be locked in with banks. That's the goal, which is why when I see articles like Uniswap, I have to applaud it because I'm like, this is the good fight still, folks. The tech is working. There's liquidity. You have to be a part of these ecosystems if you want them to continue to work and mature. And again, now is the best time that the government is not on the backs of crypto trying to go crazy. Yes, Spooky Swap. I remember that. Spooky Swap was big against them around then. What happened to Spooky Swap? I haven't heard of them as well. Let's see. Win loser rug said, oh yeah, I'm just clicking on stuff. Yes, I'm in a bunch of ads right now. That's funny for sure. Let your let your soul glow. I'm gonna come in here with the spray next week. I'm gonna hit me Silky. Yeah, I'm gonna let my soul glow. For you all don't know, the Theater of the Observed is messing with my hair because of Coming to America. You got the old boy with the soul glow. Texas will be next on the list. Satoshi Moto Black. I kind of agree with that. When I was thinking Missouri, I was like, I can see Texas making a move like this too. Texas or Florida being like, you know what, Missouri got it right. Why are we paying capital gains tax when it goes down 60% every 2 or 3 years? I can see that as well. Missouri coin coming soon. That'll be pretty cool. It said Missouri finna fleece y'all. Hey, listen, wouldn't doubt that either. Yes, that's the only state right now, Khalifa. That is the only state as of now for sure. Trump is lying. I think everyone's lying that's a politician at this point. Unfortunately. Let's see. Yep, every business is going to have a home office in the show me state. I agree. All right, that is the show for today. Again, smash that like and share. I'm about to go get this spray for the soul glow. I will see you all on Wednesday. We're gonna go back again just every other day. News cycle is slow. We got the pump. Aha, it's all great. But I'll see you all Wednesday with some more news. Hopefully, we get some exciting stuff in the next 20.